the last part is that also, I think that people are fed up of people who are not real. You know, I want to go back to my first story. It's about creating connection. And if you watch TED, you've seen Brené Brown's video now with 13 million people having watched it about vulnerability. If you didn't, I encourage you to watch it. It's because we all have a really hunger for a sense of belonging and connection. This is a very normal human need. And I think that corporations in the last 100 years or 150 years, you know, you enter in a corporation and at a very early stage, you learn you have to be a certain way. You have to disconnect basically from who you are. So from Saturday and Sunday, people are nice, they're honest, yeah? They're fun, they're human. And Monday to Friday, they become machines, yeah? Sometimes even killers, but you know, like where, you know, you have to behave in a certain way. You are not allowed to be emotional, and then you cannot be true to who you are, and then you are totally disconnected from yourself and from others. And no wonder no one believes you, no one follows you. I mean, you probably all seen all these type of people, and we ourselves also like that. Sometimes we really have to manage our behavior. It takes so much energy. Like 80% of our energy is managing our behavior to fit in a kind of way of how to be, and then we have 20% left to kind of do the work. And for me, one of the most inspiring work we do is, I give you an example from an oil and gas company who invited us, and actually one of their business unit heads was really struggling and really lost connection with his team. The business was struggling. So the first kind of day or two we spent together, we went really outside of the company just with this person. The two of us were there. And I discovered he was really on a kind of a survival mode. Yeah? And survival mode makes you like, you know, looking only in very tiny boxes. You don't see the rest. And he was totally disconnected from himself because he felt like if he connects to who he is and to himself, he wouldn't maybe be able to do the job anymore. And actually, after the first team workshop where he started talking about his struggles, the whole team was behind him. We always think about being vulnerable, verletzlich, as being a weakness. It's not. Every time you see someone being vulnerable, you think this is courageous, this is courage. Yeah? And actually in the workshop, I remember, because there was another guy who was heading business development. So the business unit had started by saying where he struggles. And then we invited everyone to share their fears. And there was a guy, a business development head, everyone was beating on him. Business development is crap. They're not doing the right mergers and acquisition. They're doing not the right work. And he stood up and said, you know what? I've always been chosen. I've always been #1 for jobs. They've always chose me. This is the first time in a job that I feel I'm gonna fail. I'm not managing. And he even had a tear in his eye. And this was a tipping moment, because the atmosphere went from his crap to how can we help him succeed? You know, we are all in the same boat. How can we help him succeed? And I'm actually very optimistic because I work a lot with young people. I have 2 small daughters, and I see that they come with a totally different expectations. They don't want this glossy thing, you know? And when I talk about being connected and being vulnerable, I'm not saying being nice and wearing Birkenstock and white socks and sitting in circles and, you know, hugging each other. I mean, hugging each other, fine. But I think also about, you know, human connections are not tidy, you know? They're ugly, you know, sometimes, and you have to talk hard stuff. So it's not about just being connected, it's also being tough sometimes. But you can be tough when you're connected in a different way. Yeah? So what I want to ask you, and offer you this question to ask yourself over and over again, is, do you truly care? Do you care about what you do, about the people you work with, about yourself? Are you real and authentic? Or does what's hindering you from being real and authentic? You know, we have an internal joke in our company that people say, when people tell them, you know, what's the work we do? They say we bring CEOs to cry. We make CEOs cry, which is true in a sense, because, you know, I think that the BP CEO should have cried after the oil spill. You know, it's kind of reconnecting people with themselves, and in that way reconnecting them with their employees. And it's not, a lot of people think, yeah, it's doing good, but are we really doing well? I think that it will merge, and I'm not the only one. If you look at, traditionally, if you say this is doing well, like business-wise, profit-wise, this was the business world and corporations. And then you had doing good. This was like NGOs and foundations. So basically you had to choose, do I have to earn money in my life or do I have to do something good? Yeah. So, but actually the generation Y, and I like Y because it spells like Y with a question mark, you know, I think the future of business will be here. It will be about doing good and doing well. You will not have the choice. Yeah. So I'm not there about, so you, and there is a huge thing about purpose economy. We work with Aaron Hurst, who's writing his book now about purpose economy. We see we moved from industrial economy to information economy. The next phase will be purpose economy. The next phase is the human era. Yeah? And it's all about being here and being purpose driven. So do you trust and are you able to connect? I think that's also a key question that we have to ask ourselves over and over again. Oh, and mostly if we are not that, it's because we have fears, you know, and fears are blocking us somewhere. Fear to lose something, fear that someone hurts me, fear of not belonging and not being connected. This is what holds us back. But the interesting thing is, if we are not that, you know, we cannot just, you know, decide not to have the bad feeling like fears and anger and the messy part, but have the nice part. It doesn't work. We cannot split ourselves. You know, if you don't experience, and research shows, if you don't experience fear, you don't experience joy. If you don't experience, you know, anger, you don't experience creativity. You cannot just kind of select what you want to feel and, you know, and select what you want to feel. And so this is I want to end this with my dream. These are my daughters. And my dream for them, and we really want to push into, we believe we're challenging actually what we do as consultant. We believe the future of consulting would be something like more an NGO and an organization way. We want to invest more in purpose. We want to be forefront of the purpose economy. I want my daughters not to choose if they want to earn money or be true to themselves. I want them to have both alternatives. And so you will hear from us. But I really want to create a community with competitors, with clients, with people in the organization to create a purpose community where it's really about doing good and doing well. And I don't want, and a lot of people are cynical when you say that, but we want to change the world. You know, I don't want people who are good, who are connected to themselves to think, oh, I want to become a freelancer because I can't be in this organization anymore. I've learned a lot in corporations. You know, I've learned a lot at Daimler, Mercedes. I've learned a lot at BCG. I think that corporation, you know, they can move the world to, you know, kind of a better place. Yeah. But the question is, how can we protect them so they don't disappear because they just lack their purpose?